still got hope because I know we are still here and we will never quit.
This is like a joke, man. From the afro to the boys, we goes overcomes. The political theater transpiring inside the Tennessee House of Representatives is the reality show version of the HBO documentary series Paradise Lost. In 3 separate documentaries starting in 1996, HBO desperately tried to exonerate 3 Satan-worshiping West Memphis, Arkansas teenagers of the murder of 3 8-year-old boys. The docs turned convicted murderers Damian Echols, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miss Kelly into cult heroes nicknamed the Memphis Three. Hollywood celebrities fell in love with Echols, the occult ringleader of the group. Pearl Jam lead singer Eddie Vedder and actor Johnny Depp enthusiastically fought for the release of the Memphis Three. The public pressure worked. After 18 years behind bars, the Arkansas courts negotiated an Alford plea in 2011 with Echols, Baldwin, and Miss Kelly, releasing them from prison with time served. Echols had been on death row. Years ago, I was completely fascinated by the case. I watched all 3 HBO documentaries. Each doc recklessly pointed a finger at a new suspect. I read a handful of books about the case. At one point, I even tracked down and talked with a lawyer involved in the trial work. At times, I was convinced the police had rushed to judgment. Some of the DNA evidence kind of swayed me for a while. But eventually, I realized Echols was a devil worshiper who led his 2 friends to participate in a ritual killing of 3 children. I thought of Paradise Lost yesterday when 3 Tennessee politicians stepped on the dead bodies of 3 9-year-olds to elevate themselves as political cult heroes. Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, and Gloria Johnson, 3 members of the Tennessee House, have made themselves the face and victims of the Nashville Covenant school massacre. Late last week, Jones, Pearson, and Johnson organized an anti-Second Amendment protest at the House that disrupted work on the floor. Using megaphones, the Tennessee Three, flanked, or 2 of them, Jones and Pearson, flanked by Johnson, took over the House while protesters shouted from the gallery and outside the House doors. It was a miniature, harmless version of January 6th. In these hyper-partisan times, no one can be all that surprised that the provocative actions of 3 Democrats sparked a strong rebuke by Republicans. Yesterday, Republicans voted to expel Jones and Pearson and came up 1 vote short of expelling Johnson. It's all symbolic. Jones and Pearson are expected to be reinstated within a few days. But that hasn't stopped corporate media and political actors from framing Thursday's expulsion as the latest example of Mississippi burning. Jones and Pearson are black, Johnson is white. Listen to what Justin Jones had to say.
The world is watching Tennessee. The world is watching Tennessee. Because what is happening here today is a farce of democracy. What is happening here today is a situation in which the jury has already publicly announced the verdict. Just yesterday, the House Speaker took to national news to condemn us and call for expulsion before any evidence was presented, before any trial happened. And so what we see today is just a spectacle. What we see today is a lynch mob assembled to not lynch me, but our democratic process. But it will not stand, because no lie can live forever.
Jones later told MSNBC's Joy Reid that he was voted out for being an uppity Negro. When Pearson spoke from the House floor, he changed his voice tone and cadence to mimic Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Take a listen for yourself.
Yes, I tell you, it was a sad day on Saturday. All hope seemed to be lost. Representatives were thrown out of the State House. Democracy seemed to be at its end. Seemed like the NRA and gun lobbyists might win. But oh, that was good news for us. I don't know how long this Saturday in the state of Tennessee might last. But oh, we have good news, folks. We've got good news that Sunday always comes. Resurrection is a promise. And it is a prophecy. It's a prophecy that came out of the cotton fields. It's a prophecy that came out of the lynching tree. It's a prophecy that still lives in each and every one of us in order to make the state of Tennessee the place that it ought to be. And so I've still got hope because I know we are still here and we will never quit.
This is like a joke, man. From the afro to the boys, we's goes overcomes. I mean, it's just all cosplay intended to distract from focusing on what caused a transgender woman to snap and kill Christians. Nashville police, they have not released Audrey Hale's manifesto. Yesterday, in Colorado, law enforcement arrested a transgender person who was allegedly plotting a mass shooting at schools and churches. The suspect had written a manifesto expressing communist beliefs. There might be a pattern here, but we're not going to find out. Corporate and social media and educators seem to be promoting gender dysphoria among young people and radicalizing those young people to view Christians and Christianity as their mortal enemy. The message seems clear. If Christians would just accept a wide spectrum of genders, America would be a better, more inclusive place. So-called transgender people are justified in turning violent towards Christians. But we're not going to have that discussion. Instead, they want us to talk about racism and the need to throw out the Second Amendment. The people pulling the strings realize they don't want to have the transgender discussion in public. Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman?, exposed the dangers of defending transgenderism in public. Leftists look insane. The way to stay on the offensive is to mask the real agenda with race. Bring in the useful idiots, the so-called Tennessee Three. Justin Jones and Justin Pearson are the stars of this version of Paradise Lost. They're Damian Eccles, the devil-worshiping media darling who overshadowed Steve Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers, the three 8-year-olds killed in West Memphis, Arkansas 30 years ago. Does anybody know the names of the three 9-year-olds killed at Covenant School? Evelyn Dickhouse, William Kinney, Hallie Scruggs? Is it a coincidence that leftists always seem to use dead children to advance their agenda? The Memphis Three were used to shake confidence in our criminal justice system. Let me repeat what I said earlier. HBO paid for three different documentaries trying to prove the West Memphis Three were innocent. Each doc irresponsibly accused someone else of the crime. 30 years later, we now have a group of citizens who believe it's justifiable to turn violent anytime the courts render a criminal verdict the mainstream media say is wrong and racist. School shootings are being used to undermine the Second Amendment. We can protect kids in schools without disarming the American public. If we spent the money we funneled to Ukraine on school safety, we could eliminate mass shootings at schools. Children are being sacrificed to empower the government and undermine the rights of citizens. We've lost the American paradise.